Stepping back into Grace, I mean, the exciting thing about these movies is because they are such a moving, movable feast. You never know what's going to be asked or expected of you. So to just be in a constant state of readiness, to be able to adapt, to be physically and mentally fit to go to the Arctic or South Africa. I knew from the last one that it takes sort of a real kind of commitment to sort of what mission ends up asking of you. And I think with this one, this feels like, to me, watching this movie feels like the accumulation of every Mission Impossible that's gone before it. It's, Tom and McHugh are so rigorous when it comes to challenging themselves to better themselves from what they did before and learning from it. And you can see that. And I watched it for the first time in Japan, and I felt like an outsider, as an independent audience member, just totally mesmerized and thrilled by just what has ended up on that screen. And although I was there filming it, I still felt like I was just having a total immersive experience. It feels this time we know each other so well. The dinners that we've had, playing cards at the bottom of an icebreaker ship in the Arctic, and then seeing a polar bear walk past our boat, and standing on a frozen sea, and like driving on the winding roads of South Africa, and going shark diving together, and horse riding in Abu Dhabi. All these insane experiences I never would have had it not been for a Mission Impossible film. Has just meant that you bond very quickly with each other, and even more so in this film, because the emphasis is so much about the team. I am really bad in heat. I go to sleep. I try to find like cool shade, and I lose my sense of humor, and I'm like a wasp at the end of summer that sort of looks drunk because I'm so tired. So heat for me is not good, but I love the cold. And so to be in the Arctic at like -40, I was in my element. Some other people didn't love it so much. I was like, this is my place. This is where I've always meant to be. Because I felt like I was living in a moonstone. It was really surreal and beautiful, and incredible sunrises and sunsets. And you can't fight the elements. You have to just surrender to it and what it asks of you in order to survive out there. So I just felt really privileged to be able to have that experience. This film feels like the accumulation of all the missions that have gone before it. And as Tom, as the kind of the eternal student that he is, he's always learning from what he did last and how to better it. And I think when this film was filmed on IMAX cameras, it's designed to be seen in the bigger screen, and you can see all the work that's gone into making this kind of the ultimate Mission Impossible. It's everything that the Michelin stands for, the kind of fully immersive action-adventure franchise that at the heart of it has the team spirit and friendship, and the importance of self-sacrifice for the greater good. They can expect a rip-roaring adventure, fully immersive, Tom Cruise being more Tom Cruise than you could ever imagine him being. Like, he puts his life on the line for these movies, and he has done that and excelled in this film. And it's so emotional. I didn't expect to cry as much as I did. It's a beautiful film.
I try and approach each film with what's gone before in mind. Benji's been through a lot over these 6 films that I've done. And every time I start a new one, I look at what he's just experienced, and try and move forward from there. It's a very nice thing as an actor to be able to live with a character for as long as I have. It's 20 years. So yeah, he's evolved accordingly, I think. It's great. I mean, the very first time I met Tom, he was incredibly personable and put me at ease. I was terrified, it was my first time making a Hollywood movie. And then he sort of came on and was just, an absolute sort of dream to work with. So yeah, it's always fun. When you're going to make a movie with Tom Cruise, you're going to have, fun on screen and off. So it's been a really lovely relationship over the years. I love shooting in Svalbard in the Arctic Circle. I'm a big snow fan. I love snow generally. I love snowboarding. So to be in the Arctic, somewhere where no human being should ever really be. It's so inhospitable. Very, very cold, obviously, -40 degrees Celsius. There were polar bears walking around. We had to stop shooting whenever a polar bear came near us, because obviously you have to respect their territory. And so we'd back away and let it walk through the set. But just to see that was extraordinary. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. What's wonderful about it is that it kind of like gathers together the entire history of Mission Impossible, and you know, you see moments from previous missions, and it really kind of keys into this idea that, you know, for the last 30 years, Ethan Hunt has been, you know, on a mission to save the world, and in some respects, some of the things that he's done has, you know, has impacted on what we're finally seeing here in the Final Reckoning. So it's a really clever kind of culmination of all the missions. Audiences can expect the biggest practical action film ever made. You know, it is probably the biggest. I mean, it just is. I mean, it's incredibly exciting, and there's a lot of amazing spectacle in it. But at the very heart of it, it's a very intimate movie, and there's lots of, you know, really sweet character stuff, very nuanced character development for every character. I feel like every character is really well served in this film, and so it's huge and it's small, and that's quite an amazing combination.
Awesome. Well, that's all I got. Thank
Cool.
you guys so much.
Thank you.
It was great, and also, you know, we spent so much time together with the cast and crew that, you know, it's like a big family traveling from country to country. So it was amazing to get back to work with them, you know. You know, we were training to be ready for anything. So we did so much training with Wade Eastwood, the stunt coordinator, and the whole stunt team. And yeah, I think maybe there was like maybe some specific movements that we did that I worked on, like a back roll, for example, you know, in the first fight at the beginning of the movie. I had never done that before, so I had to work on this specific movement. But, you know, it's amazing when you get it right. It's just so special, you know, and also with Mission Impossible, I get to do things for real, you know, with no like special effects, and I do all the fights myself, so it's amazing, and they push me to do so as well, you know. So yeah, I love that. I mean, when we were in the Arctic, it was so cold, but it was so beautiful too, and there were some polar bears also, so that was cool. Far away, they were not too close. This movie is mind-blowing. It's just epic. Tom does incredible stunts in the sky, underwater. I have some amazing fight scenes too, with fire around. What else? There is so many incredible characters in the movie. I'm excited because I got to do some scenes with Simon Pegg too, and yeah, what else? The movie's so rich. It's so hard to pinpoint something, you know, one particular thing.
Absolutely working with Tom Cruise again. I actually have some wonderful scenes with him, and being able to film. You know, they love to go to locations, various locations, and mine was London, which I enjoyed. I didn't want to go to the tundra, to the cold ones, the cold places, but I appreciate watching them. But yeah, I had a great time. And Fallout, of course, you encounter Erica as the director of CIA, but in this one now she has, you know, she's been promoted, and she is actually someone in there ran a campaign, won successfully, and now she's the president of the free world. And the stakes are as high as they can possibly be, but she's well equipped to handle him. I mean, she has nerves of steel, obviously. Nerves of steel. It takes her own great counsel. And people in this room during this time, you know, they are a family together. They have to make the hard decisions, and it rests with her ultimately, finally. They make hard work enjoyable. You know, both of them are some of the hardest workers that I've ever encountered, especially Tom. But the joy, the pure joy, and they bring you along in that joy. I appreciate so much, and I have to take that, and I take that to other experiences and try to remember that always. Well, we know absolutely, you know, the locations, bar none, the practical sets, bar none. You know, sometimes I've looked at him and said, "Oh my gosh, if I were your mother," I just, boy, I just don't know how she feels looking at some of the things that he does on screen, you know, for the love of it. But I know they're as safe as they can be, and equipped in every way possible. I think that's one of the pure pleasures of Mission Impossible, that you're seeing exactly what is. For those who've come along for the 3 decades, the 30 years, you will have some, and have enjoyed it tremendously. There's a lot of memory there that is respected and revisited, and some of the return of some of the characters that that were memorable. There's emotion that's threaded through the experience that you might not get in a just an action movie, but there's a lot of heart along with the action.
Well, it's interesting. I didn't return to it as much because we overlapped a lot of it. So it was a return, but it was always near my heart. Even though we would go home for a while, this character is one that stays with you. Whether you watch him on screen or have to perform him like I do, there's something about Ethan's nemesis, Gabriel, that is very satisfying and is very challenging on one hand, but also just a lot of fun. Well, reuniting with Tom, Chris, and the rest of the cast is always fun. You know you're going to work with the best. You know you're going to have an incredible time listening to the stories. I don't know if people understand just what an incredible orator or raconteur Christopher McQuarrie is. He is just a fascinating person who can go on for an extended period of time and not be boring. And that's what you want in your directors, you know? Tom and McHugh take a lot of pains to make high quality product that satisfies and that's just timeless in a sense. And in this case, time is a major component, whether it's going back in a nostalgic trip through, the different iterations of the Mission Impossible team to now. It's timely film that deals with timely subject matter. And then a good time at the theater, which is ultimately what you want. I've always wanted to go to Africa, and this is it. This was a great experience to see the cultures, to see the different cultures, to see the native cultures, to see the colonial cultures. The Africa has got it all, and the animals. To get to go on a safari, on more than one, that was, bucket list time. This whole experience is a big bucket list of dues when it comes to training for the sequence that is of the ages, skydiving, flying. I flew the biplane, training physically, going to Africa. What is there not to like? I had so much fun on this that I'm a little sad. I don't want this to be the final reckoning. I need to do some more evil. The final reckoning is a culmination of all the others. Think about it. You make one film, and that's a massive learning experience. You make two films, and you can almost double what you've learned. You make as many as they've done here, and I think it adds an elegance to the process. Audiences can expect the unexpected. They can expect twists and turns and thrills and edge of your seat. Literal edge of your seat sequences. From deep underwater to high in the sky. There's no place these great filmmakers and the crew will not go to entertain and enlighten.
We find my character, Commander Neely, which sounds very grand. Ethan has been sent by the president to go on his journey to stop the entity. And obviously it's in a time where, you can't trust anybody. No human can trust any other human, which would be so frightening. And so he's sent on his way with a letter that says CN on it, Commander Neely, and he arrives on the George H.W. Bush fighter carrier. And my character is on the viewing deck and knows, as soon as she sees this letter, who it's from, looks up and realizes that she has to step in, not wanting to, I might add, but she knows that if the letter has come from her friend Erica, the president, then it has to be a matter of world life or death. And so this commander sizes up the man and looks at where she could help him and sends him on his way to Jack Bledsoe with her medallion from round her neck for Jack Bledsoe to know that it's someone that he can trust as well. So everything has become, a tangible talisman rather than anything from the ether. And that's the only way people can trust each other, is by passing that along. I mean, what's not to excite me? When I got the call, I was literally I actually swore quite a lot at first. I'd just been shooting on The Fall Guy in Sydney. And as soon as the call came in, I swore a lot. And then I was just like, I don't care where it is. I don't care what it is. Please just say yes and thank you. Because to be called up by both Tom and Chris McQuarrie, they're the greatest movie makers. So being encouraged to come and play with them was a no-brainer. I feel like those two were meant to find each other in life. Tom and Chris are undoubtedly soulmates, and they're so excitable all the time. It's like them as 12-year-olds meeting another female 12-year-old. We had 5 or 6 days on the George H.W. Bush fighter carrier, and it was the most, I would have absolutely done it without being paid, but don't tell anyone. I mean, there's nothing quite like it on or off screen. It's immersive in every sense. I know that Chris McQuarrie wanted this to be this one standalone film, even though it's part of an oeuvre. He wanted this to be a fully immersive experience for the moviegoer, but it's also immersive behind the camera. They bring you in. I've never felt so welcomed by something, by Tom himself, by Chris, but also by the cast, because you're stepping onto probably the most well-known, glamorous, high-end, exciting travelator I've ever been on. So it's been really incredible. Well, somebody said to me, how would you describe it in 3 words? And my first one was heart attack. Because you see this man chucking himself around, and all the stuff on the biplanes rather, with Esai, it's heart-stopping. It really is. So for me, it's that kind of heart-stopping moments in it, and then the heart in it as well. That's the other word I was thinking of. Yeah, heart attack and claustrophobia. But it's also really good.
It's intense. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. It's nerve-wracking because you never know what you're about to get yourself into, in that particular day. Because McHugh and Tom, they like to, feed off of what's going on and everything. So at any moment they can say, okay, hey, this is what we're going to do now. And you just have to be able to roll with it. So I think it kept us all on our toes, but it was a fun game that we were all playing together. It was fun training for the fight sequence that me, Palm, and Simon had in the cabin. We worked very hard on it for months. Palm and I especially training, trying to get in shape and working with the fight choreography, especially with fighting in a burning down cabin, which, it was practical fire. So, we had the firefighters and safety team on set standby just in case anything happened. But we were very competent in what we were doing, Tom's favorite word. And luckily there was no accidents. I would say the most difficult location to film on was Svalbard. I've never been so cold in my life. We hit temperatures below 38 degrees, which was insane. So that was a huge challenge for us, but it was a beautiful place to shoot in, and you can see the scale of it on screen. So I'm glad we got a chance to actually shoot in that location. It makes my job easy when I'm working with people who know what they're doing. I trust them, not just Tom and McHugh, but the rest of the crew, that they're gonna light us well, that we're gonna get the good shots, because the things that we do in these movies, it can be very taxing on your body because this is an action film. You can expect the ride of your life. You can expect a story that kind of bookends a lot of open questions from the last previous 7 films. You can expect a character-driven story with Ethan characters and some new faces who are teaming up with Ethan, and we'll see where it goes.
So every movie that Tom and I do incorporates everything that we have learned on previous movies. And what you're going to be seeing with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is the culmination of everything we have learned over the course of working together for 18 years, taken to its absolute extreme. I like to describe my working relationship with Tom as one long conversation about movies that's occasionally interrupted by production. We are just constantly talking about movies, talking about our love for cinema, finding ways to challenge ourselves, and also finding ways to keep what we believe is vital and classic about movies alive. I can't really choose one stunt that I would say is probably the most impressive, only because I was watching Tom Cruise every day, topping every stunt he'd ever done in the morning and then going out in the afternoon and dunking on that. I will say there is one stunt in particular, probably what you would consider to be the last stunt in the movie, where I'm always asked, is there ever a stunt where you've had to say no? There certainly isn't one where I've said no. There's definitely stunts where I wish I had not suggested them, and this is far and away the worst. Well, this chapter focuses on not just Ethan's journey within this particular installment, but Ethan's journey over an entire 30-year arc leading up to this installment. It gives you a better sense of what makes Ethan tick, but it also puts into context Ethan's responsibility for not just his team, but for the entire world. You can expect the very biggest Mission Impossible ever.